Okay, so this is the third and final video that we're going to do covering UI. And the things that I hope to get through are I want to add an options menu to our main menu that's going to let us change the resolution of the screen, just as a way to, you see this in a lot of modern games. It's the beginning of the options screen, right? And show you some ways in which we can access some of those more basic kind of console commands. And then I want to add a pause menu, and from there I think I'll call it like done, at least the UI itself. So just to remind you of where we're at, we actually have a main menu, and so now I kind of even want to, I feel like good enough to go into our project settings, and in maps and modes, the game default map is not sandbox, it's main, right? Ooh, that's real lightning, by the way. I'm going to keep that in here. I kind of wish we were making a horror game. Maybe that'll take that as some inspiration when we move into the more graphical elements of our, get rid of our programmer art here. So anyway, that said, because I have no idea when you guys are watching this or where, but it's, yeah, certainly raining a lot here. Okay, so that's my startup. That's my startup map. So when you build this game, like they're presented with the main menu, this is what it looks like. This options button doesn't work. Play button drops you in here, and then game over. You go back to the main menu and you quit, and it's over. That's nice. We don't have to use our play button anymore except to start. So that's good. What I'd like to do now, though, is let's go back to our main menu, take a look, options. Okay, how are we going to do this options menu? I think I know how we can do this options menu. This vertical box, let's name it something. Let's name it main menu. Okay, so we have this main menu. This is the main menu. This horizontal box is just our status. Fine, status. Okay, we need another vertical, let's see, vertical box here. So I'm going to add another vertical box. Put it like right here. And that vertical box, let's also do the same thing with its anchor, sorry. We don't need to, let's see, we can do that. Anchor it like that. No, we don't want to do that. Anchor it in the center. No. Let's put it over here. Like that. So I'm just adjusting the X and Y, and then position. Maybe it's over here a little bit. It doesn't need to be so large. Okay, so I just made this little, this is the area that's going to hold our options menu. And so I'm kind of making it, let's make it kind of 200 in X by like 300 in Y. That should be totally cool to have done there. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, now we need to add some, I want to add some options. So first, we're going to add a text box underneath here and make it center, and then instead of saying text block, we will say options. Okay. And then let's add some options buttons. So we need one button there. What should our options be? You know, I feel like we only want one option. Well, we want one kind of category. So this is going to be resolution, like the resolution of the monitor that you have. So like if you're doing a console game, this doesn't really matter. And then let's give them like let's give ourselves 3 options for resolution. So we need 3 buttons. Button. And then say the text boxes that go within them. So I'm just drag and dropping over that. Okay. And let's handle the text stuff first. So this one will be 640 by 480. Terrible. But you know what? That's just, it was amazing a few years ago. And then 2080 by 720 is another popular resolution. And then, yeah, I would go to 4K, guys, but I feel like Taco Treasures is not, maybe it's not ready for 4K, but it's definitely ready for 1080p. So that will be our third option here. And we can we'll just size it to content. So that's what I had my vertical box selected here. Size it to content. And let's select our buttons and style them, right? So I'm going to hold Control, make sure I style all my buttons. Normal, we decided we're just using tint, so it's there. And then we definitely want to have that padding from the top here, 10, and then 10, and 10. Right. I think resolution is fine like that, right? Resolution. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay. Oh, we need one more button. Sorry, because we're gonna, it's like I want us to be able to, this is gonna be hidden until we press the options button, and then we wanna return back to the main menu here, which means that we can actually go ahead and anchor that. So what I did, anchors, I held like Control and Shift and just clicked right in the center. It means we can actually anchor this right in the center. That I know it looks bad, but and we also want to make sure we finish our styling. So we had this, that's the normal one. Hovered, the tint is that really cool pink. And then another thing I did with pressed is I made the tint black, so you don't even need to see the pressed status. Okay, and so that is done. And the next thing I want to do is, so for this vertical box, let's name it, instead of vertical box 1, let's name it options menu. And I am going to click this little toggle widgets editor visibility and turn it off, right? So that we don't have to see it. And we're actually going to turn it off oh, wait. Before we do that, we need one more button, right? Because we have no other way to get back. So I'm going to add another button here under the options menu, make sure we're adding in the right place. You know, I'm going to turn off the main menu's visibility, so I'm doing this properly. There we go. That other button, let's quickly do its, add some text to it. Let's style it. Okay, be fast here. Okay, hovered, choose tint, that, and then pressed is also black. And then instead of text block, we're going to say return. Return, and the button will just add some padding to the top. 10, excellent. And then instead of having just button 3, 4, 5, let's name these something that makes sense, like setting 1 button, and I'll copy that setting and go to the next button here. Setting 2 button, and setting 3 button, and then setting, this is a return button. And I do this so that when we're in the graph editor here, we know the button names. It's not just like button 04, whatever. Okay, so nice. Yeah, I'm not in love with the look, but it's going to function, right? I'm not actually in love with the look of any of this stuff yet, so, and it doesn't matter. So with that done, I think we can start to work on Let's hide this and unhide the main menu. I think we can start to work on the functionality here. So when the options button is clicked, so let's go back to graph. Now we can grab our options button here. We can say clicked. So when the options button is clicked, what we want to do is we're going to want to get this, the reason we named this thing main menu and we named the other one options menu is because, and let me try to move this out of this border because it doesn't necessarily need to have it there. I can do that. And then, oh my goodness, what did I just do? Never mind. I shouldn't do. You forget. Don't do what I did. Just keep it there. I might approach this in a different way if I were redoing this, but it's going to look fine. But anyway, I'm off track. So actually, I need a way to get the main menu and make it invisible, and then to get the options menu and to make it visible. And so we're going to need to set those as variables. So that's why we named them. So we have main menu, click is variable, that's great. And then the same thing with option menu is variable. So by checking that, on the left-hand side, we now have those as variables here. So we can grab the main menu and get it. And then if we type visibility, set visibility, and when we click that, it's hidden. And then for the options menu, we can get that, and we can do the same thing, but in reverse. So we can set the visibility of that to visible. And we've got that return button. We know we have that one here. We can, when we click the return button, we can just go in reverse, right? So we can set the visibility of our, I kind of want to just copy paste here, just reverse it. So main menu is now visible, options menu is now hidden. With that done, I kind of just want to quickly see, oh, yeah. Okay, with that done, let's go ahead and go to our designer. Oh, that's visible in the editor. So we want to, can I do it on construct? There should be a way for me to set this as not like this options menu as like hidden. There's definitely a way. So let's go to this options menu here. Look here. Is enabled, size to content, is volatile, rendering, visibility, hidden. There we go. Let's just try. Yeah, okay. So that's that's the place to set it, right? So I guess we have to make sure that we are setting that. So let's just try a quick test here. Options, nice. And then we have those and return and we're back. So that looks nice. I'm gonna add some padding and things. Anyway, that works. So we've got those options. These do nothing. Okay, quit. Nice. So let's go ahead and plug in. I'd like to just kind of get these settings done too while we're at it. So we have those two things done, and let's get the settings buttons. So we have setting 1 button, setting 2 button, setting 3 button, all of those set. Let's move them all next to each other so we know they are. And these are all going to be console commands. So remember what these are doing is they're setting the resolution. And so what we want is there's a specific console command that I know for resolution. And you can look all this stuff up in the Unreal Engine docs too. So I'll set res and then whatever the resolution you want. So 640 by X by 480. And that's your console command for that. And then we can kind of copy paste this twice and just drag all these guys in and just change this to we got 1280 by 720 and then the 1080p one. So that's 1920 by 1080. Okay, super good. And then what do we have? I mean, I think that's kind of it. And compile this main. Now if we play this and we go to options and we try, this is not going to work. But if we haven't looked at this yet, but if we go ahead and we go to new editor window or even standalone game, if we want standalone game, it'll build a standalone game for us in a second. It's there. That's what it looks like. Go to options and 640 by 480, 1280. So that's working. 1920 by 1080. That's full screen on my monitor. Like there. Cool. And if we play it, yeah, when we've got still have our main menu working, and quit, and then it's over and actually closes. So that's very cool. And I think we have a little bit of, I think we've got a little bit more work in us, and we can do it. I'm going to, let's go back to our sandbox. Why did it do that? Okay, anyway, it's actually where we want it to be eventually. So let's go to interfaces. We're going to implement a pause menu very quickly. And we can just do this kind of based on the game over menu. We can duplicate that. So we have some stuff happening here already, because I feel like the game over menu and the pause menu could almost contain a lot of similar things, with the exception of pause menu gives you the ability to resume. So let's pause. Okay. So I just right-clicked and duplicated that. And let's open this. And instead of game over, we can say game paused. And then in retry shouldn't be retry. It should be resume. And then let's give them, and then main menu is fine. And then if they want, they can go back to the main menu, they can quit from there. If you wanted them to quit from the menu, I mean, some people have very strong feelings about this, like you should be able to quit at any time. I don't want to go back to the main menu and then I don't want and quit from there. So you know how to add that if that's something that's really, really bothering you. Right. So what I think we can do then is let's just go ahead and handle the things we need to handle. So let's also rename these, like retry. Well, oh, it already did it. That's cool. So this is not right. Oh, sorry, it didn't already do it. It's not retry button. We can say resume button. Okay, so we go back to this graph, and then we don't need this anymore. We can keep the main menu button though. So think about what we want to do. Okay. The first thing I want to do is when we click resume, I want to remove the widget, right? So it's time to do that. And then, so we're going to have set the game to paused when we click whatever key we want the pause key to be. So we need to unpause the game, which that will do. And then we are also going to need to kind of go in reverse, meaning go in reverse in terms of when we set input mode, like we need to get the input mode and set it back to what we should. And I'm going to go ahead and get the player controller just for fun. For fun and profit. Okay. Good. So that's kind of, we're going in reverse because of the first thing we want to do. So now we've got this pause menu. And if we look in our player controller, that's where we're handling, at the moment, we're handling all our menu stuff. So let's create a new, should we do a pause key? We could do a pause key. We could do a pause key in our, yeah, let's do that. Okay, you know what? I'm trying to be somewhat semi-pro here. So if we go back to our, and it's a good time to go back to our input manager here because we only have this one action. And let's do another action mapping, which is paused. Because you never know what type of, we don't want to have an actual key on the keyboard because some of you are going to be building your stuff for controllers or consoles or whatever you want, or mobile phones, and so they don't have keyboards. But they'll definitely have a paused action. So for now, I think pause should just be the tab key on our keyboard, right? So that's good. And then we can right click here in our player controller and we can just type paused, and that's going to be the action. So when that's pressed, what do I want to check for? There's actually something kind of cool I want to do here, but for now we can just keep on doing what we do, which is kind of trying to figure out how this stuff works. So we're just going to make a widget. We're going to make a widget that says pause, and then we're going to promote it to a variable that's going to be we're going to call it our pause menu. And I'll show you why I really want us to do that now, because if we went to all the effort of making this pause action, I actually want to check this is valid function is really cool. It's going to check if something exists, if it is a valid object or not. And if the pause is not valid, so this is just to stop us from like spamming this this key, because in the main menu the player controller doesn't exist. This player controller doesn't exist. So in the game, this player controller does exist. So what this is valid is going to do is just see is this a valid thing, and if it's not valid, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to create it. If it is valid, then we don't need to bother recreating this, because we're just going to end up throwing a bunch of these widgets on top of widgets, and it could impact performance and things. So if it is valid, right, we can just jump immediately to what I know we want to do. We've done this many times. Set mouse cursor. All right, set mouse cursor. Set show mouse cursor, sorry. And we want to show that. And so these two can come in here, and just that's how we're going to roll, right? So if it's not valid, we make it, and then we're going to do things like set mouse cursor. That's going to give control back over to the mouse. And then we need our input mode. Set input mode UI only. So we're going to interact with the UI. I guess we're close enough that we can just drag in our pause menu there. I mean, we could have done it here too. Player controller, fine, we get it. Get player controller, okay. Oh, yeah, we need to add to viewport. Add to viewport. And in this case, it's so far away, I'm going to grab the variable that we made here and just plug it in there. We really only need one more thing. Well, before we do that, let's comment. Pause the game. Sorry. And then we need one more thing to actually do this, which is pause the game. Set game paused. Yes, and set that to true. Okay. So just to walk you through what happens here, when we get this input, it's being handled by Input Manager. That's when you press the pause key button. This is valid node. It's going to see if there's been an assignment of the pause menu. If there hasn't, it's going to make the it's going to create this widget and set that as the pause menu, and then it will show the mouse cursor, handle our input mode and make sure it's UI only, then add that pause menu to the viewport, and then set the game as paused. And so we made that tab, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just do selected viewport, tab. Oh, perfect. So that works. And if I hit tab again, it's not going to, it's not unpausing me. We could do that if we wanted to make that the key. Instead, we're just handling it through resume. So if I press resume, it's unpaused, and I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'm tired of getting killed there, but okay. And then that's our game over menu. We retry. Yeah, let's try retry and actually do pause. Let's see. Tab. That's not working. Okay, why is it not working? This is why you want to test. I'm not able to move at all, actually. Very strange. Main menu, play, can't move. and can't get any input. So that's very weird. Let's see. Stop. If I play from that, I get input. If I play from the main menu, let's see if I get input. Save selected, play, play. I don't get any input from the main menu. So this is telling me there's something wrong with how we are setting up our play function here. So let's look at play. That looks totally fine, unless we're doing something in our UI. It's potentially possible that we're doing something in our UI input that we don't want. Would it be like set UI game on, like UI mode game and UI? We might be able to do that. That's, I think, what's happening. So we're not getting the input mode set back. And so let's take this one step at a time. Let's go to Sandbox and go ahead to our pause menu where we know we have that. I'm gonna just remove him for now and just play it and then pause it and resume, and then I'm okay there. So let's play. Okay, pause, resume, able to move around. Okay, so that's okay. Play, pause, main menu, play, and cannot move. Okay, so that's what's happening. I'm not getting my input back from that one. So let's go ahead and go to main menu, open level, remove from parent. I wonder if that is happening. Let's see, this might actually be firing too fast, and so we may not get it removed. That's always a potential possibility. Main menu, play, no. That's not it. So let's try one other thing. Let's set game mode, UI, game mode and UI, player controller. Okay, play, tab, main menu, play. No, we're not getting it. And I almost feel like, are we getting the right? Yeah, we have our player controller here. Otherwise we wouldn't, yeah. Yeah, oh, we got an error message. Okay, that's because it expects a player controller target. So I think we can do get player controller. The problem is in the main menu, our player controller is the one that can't move around. So tab, main menu, play. Oh, hey, functions. All right, that's all we had to do. I knew basically that's what had happened, is we were losing our input mode. So just by getting the player controller right before we, even after we do open level, that's giving us control back here. So we go to main menu, play. Yay, got it. Okay, so I just want to recap what we have here. So what we've done, we have, if we want to start from the project settings here. So we have in our maps and modes, we have our game default map set to main. And the main is our basically this will be our main menu. The main menu itself has a level blueprint that's simply adding that main menu widget to our, and this is what was happening. We were getting our input mode UI only, and we weren't setting it back. So that's why I was running into some problems. So this is the level blueprint. Every level has a level blueprint. You can throw stuff in there. You can do lots of cool things with it. I tend to avoid it, but in this particular case, I wanted to show you. And why do I avoid it? Just, I don't know, it's just a personal thing where I kind of like to, because it doesn't exist except for in that level. So if you're you're going through different levels, I like to be able to not have to redo work. So anyway, we have this main menu that gets shown in the level blueprint and added to the viewport when the player enters the level immediately. That's done when they begin play. And that main menu here is a widget that we've created. And if we look at the designer, One thing we did was we created an options menu that's hidden, and we toggle that visibility so that when they click that button, so we can have kind of menus within menus. And that options menu itself is fairly simple. It's doing something like, where are our settings buttons here? It's setting the resolution of our game here. So here we can choose the resolution and then return back. We basically hooked up all of this, so you should have enough under your belt to be able to think about different ways you might want to set options and flags. These can set variables either in widgets or even in the player state, provided you're dealing with the same player state that you are going to have the player kind of use when they're in the game. So we did that. What else did we do? Oh, yes, we implemented a pause menu, and we did that by duplicating our game over screen and making a few edits specifically to be able to resume play. And that's the one big thing here, is we're removing that from the parent, and then we're unpausing a game, and nothing too crazy there. But I think what we have and where we'll stop is we have now a heads-up display that displays information to the player, things that are pertinent. In this case, our pertinent information is merely things like their score and their health, and we also have kind of a way for the player to navigate through menus if they need to resume, to pause, to go to the main menu, to set some options. So it's beginning to look more like something that can be given to somebody else across the internet or wherever, and then said, hey, go ahead and why don't you try my game, which is really cool. So what we're going to do in the next series of videos is definitely we're not going to be doing as much framework design. In fact, we're going to move into, I think the next video, we're actually going to move into some 2D sounds. By 2D sounds, I mean we're going to add sounds to our menu and think about how they work with each other. And so we'll do sound design specifically for the 2D menu. Then we'll jump over and do take some of our programmer art away. But we're going to do that through some basic level design and being able to kind of set ourselves up to make this look and play like an actual game. Thanks.